Yep.
Oh, we're live, baby.
Oh, baby.
Yeet.
Isn't it fun every time you go live, you know that it's living on cyberspace forever?
Yeah.
So no matter what you say, it can and will be used against you.
Against you. And it's funny because with Facebook specifically, you
Uh-huh.
never actually know when the live starts. It's live.
No. Hey, we are live. We have one viewer. Hey,
Sweet.
one viewer. Hey, I think if I switch it here now to gallery, that'd be cool. It should switch over for everybody, but all right, we'll give it a minute. If you guys want to do the like share it or whatever.
Yeah. Let's see how to do a watch party here.
How do you do watch party?
I have no idea. I just
I
hit
don't
share.
know. Okay,
Yeah.
I did share too. So
So I hit share and then, oh, if you go to your status,
Mhm.
and then I don't know if we'll be able to find the video, but let's see. Huh. Ready? Let me check on my phone.
This is the real test.
Yeah, Mitch, say some stuff in the meantime.
Well, everybody, we are going to have a discussion, a very, very important discussion about looking at the state of the world, looking at the state of each of our individual lives, why it's all screwed up, understanding the source of that, and then what practical solutions look like. Because how many people like to complain about what's going on in the world or like are a little bit pissed about the current state of the world? Anyone?
everyone.
I think everyone, yeah.
I think everybody is.
Yeah. So if you're someone who doesn't want to do something about that, just stop watching right now and go keep scrolling through Facebook or whatever.
Yeah, this
But
will be a waste of time for
if
sure.
there's any bit of you that has any bit of life left in you that says, okay, I'm not happy with the world and maybe I could do something about it, that is what this discussion is going to be about. And so cool. Did y'all get the watch party stuff going on?
I actually
No,
just got it. Yeah.
What?
Oh,
Really?
So if you go to, yeah, it's under your status,
Uh-huh.
and
Yeah.
then there's like a settings option. Then you can click watch party,
Yeah.
and then you could share a live video. Then type in Mitchell under search, and
Oh,
then
I
you'll
see
see
it.
the first video there.
Ah,
sick.
okay.
Kian, okay, so in
Yeah.
Justice League, there's like the really smart guy. That's Kian.
That's Kian.
Whoa. I'll take it for tonight.
Join us.
Haha.
So Kian's the one that just creates money out of thin air.
There we go.
Yeah.
Wait, can we switch superpowers? What's up?
Hey, everyone's got their superpower. That's why we're a team. And this is the Justice League.
Yes, exactly. So Asif, you got it?
Yes, sir.
All right, and Drake, you got it?
That's cool.
Just now. Yeah.
Cool. All right, everyone. So y'all probably know us. You know, most of us we're on the Self Perfected podcast, and we're on the calls, and we've created this group, Self Perfected, which is about y'all hear about this term self development. It's like, yeah, I'm working on myself. I'm improving myself. I'm getting self awareness or whatever. Self perfection is that to the utmost. And as Asif so geniusly shared on our last group call, he was explaining that perfection is a process. It's not like you get this state and you're perfect and you never have to change. It's like perfection is this process of continually getting better and better. So how does that relate to us being here and the current state of the world and what we can do about it? Is, from my perspective, that real perfection in really living your life to your utmost potential would involve you being at least able to see what would my life look like if I were in some sort of Justice League. As in, by that I mean, you see that the world's not in good shape and you're willing to do something about it. You don't have to be some freaking superhero or whatever, but it's like you take on that responsibility to actually create a better outcome that wouldn't be possible unless you actually stepped up and did something about it. So that's kind of the general frame of this call. But what I love about all you guys is that we can just talk about stuff and this like really cool stuff emerges. So with that being said, does anyone want to share like what is your take on the Real Life Justice League?
The context of what the Justice League stands for is when the world is facing a massive threat. And there's a group of people who are willing to take on that threat. We've been gathering this group for in a really focused manner for about a year and a half now. And the amount of people who are willing to step up it's really encouraging. Really encouraging, because we're getting moms, dads, doctors, chemists, and other scientists, millionaires, multi-millionaires, students, right? Teenagers, and everyone in between, teachers, people with doctorates, philosophy degrees, everything in between. Because it seems like, and tell me if you guys see this, but it's like, no matter where you look, there are people who are like, what's going on?
Yeah,
Right?
definitely. Yeah.
So what we mean by real life Justice League, it's not you got X-ray vision per se, but you can see through the bullshit. It's not like you have laser eyes, but you do have a 1,000-yard stare that you can develop because of your certainty. And let me just be clear. I think all of us individually of who we are today, we didn't think we can have this kind of certainty, this clarity in life about what we're here to do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But it takes some time, but you can actually develop that. And that's why we're making this video.
You know what I like about that? Like, it just kind of reminded me. I used to watch Smallville. You guys ever watch Smallville?
Smallville.
Yeah.
Right. I remember there's this episode where like Superman, Clark Kent, whatever, he's like first realizing he has all these powers, and at first it cripples him, right? Because he doesn't know how to control all of his ability and everything like that. He doesn't know how to use what he has available within him, right? And then he has to spend all this time practicing and honing that until he gets to the point where he's actually mastering his own ability, his own body, right? And it's like we've all each spent a lot of time, honing ourselves, doing this process, and we're still obviously, like you said, introducing this, Mitch. Like it's a process, right? But it's a continuous process. It's not like, oh, I'm there and I'm done, right? But within that, if you look out as far as looking out at every individual, we all are capable of so much. And yet we have not honed ourselves. We've not looked at ourselves. We've not questioned, can it be different? It's like we're just accepting all the limitations, accepting, life the way that it is as a society. I mean, us here, we're not doing that. But as a society, that's what's happening to a lot of people. And it is crippling society, right? And we were fortunate enough to meet with someone kind of speaking like the way we're speaking right now, reaching out saying, hey, it doesn't have to be this way. And we listened and we were like, well, I'm willing to take that risk. And now we're in a position to go, oh, okay, look, this worked for me too. Like I didn't think it would work for me, but it worked for me. And now I want to share this with other people. And I do share this with other people, like each of you, right? And that's what it's going to require in order for like the Justice League isn't just like a few people. It's like virtually every hero in I guess that's a DC universe, right?
Right. But it's coming from everybody's individual kind of path, where before your world would never cross.
Right.
My world would never cross with the chemist in
Right.
Germany. Right. But now we have the chemist from Germany because he's willing to step up to the plate. Right. So it's a really cool point. It's like when there's a threat that's so fundamental to everything that's here now. It's like, it doesn't matter if this was your passion, right? It doesn't matter if this is what made you feel, right? I came from being an actor. I felt fucking amazing being an actor, right? I was like meeting like Anna Kendrick and Bryan Cranston, all the stuff, Kiefer Sutherland. I was like, my childhood hero. I was like, this is awesome. And like being on the silver screen, right? The big, you know, in the theater, and people are like, I'm watching me with like a room full of people. I'm like, holy crap, I want to do this. But as the sense of purpose and awareness of what's going on in this world grew inside of me, I was like, yeah, no, this is the bat signal. This is the signal, the Justice League signal.
Yeah, and that's the one thing that's bringing us all together. It's like, what is the purpose of this Justice League? And is this a Justice League that's just in our fantasy? No. No. But most people go about their life, I'd say, just dreaming of things wanting to be better. What really brought all of us together, why we're all here today, is because we just don't want things to be better and are looking to pawn off that responsibility to somebody else. But we all made the decision within ourselves that we're going to be the ones to make it better. And that's the purpose of why we're doing this as a Justice League. And this league, what we're looking for, because this league is creating in the image and likeness of ourselves. So maybe by explaining what we're actually looking for is going to tell you a little bit about who we are as well. This league, we're looking to play on a global scale. Because the problems in this world, it's not locally, it's not in one city, it's not in one country. There's no way to solve what's going on today if you look at everything that's really actually happening, unless we all solve it together. And like Mitch said right in the beginning, if you're watching this and you don't give a fuck about yourself or the world or what's going on, just shut it off. But we do have a purpose. And if you can see a purpose within yourself, that's who we're looking to connect with. And what is that purpose? It's a purpose that's going to affect everyone in a greater good. And yeah, go ahead, Mitch.
Well, this is what you taught me from day one, Kian, is when I met you. It's like the main focus behind everything that we do is two things primarily. It's educational perfection and financial perfection. Now, those two things, we could spend the next 4 hours pulling those apart of what that really means and what that looks like, especially in the context of it's 2021 in the state of the world. But to be very clear, that is the purpose of this, is to perfect what a real education looks like for any human on the planet, and to then perfect our ability to utilize money or trade or resources and properly distribute basic human needs. That's what this really looks like. And that's what, you'll hear us talking about. And so I think that's a good point for us to discuss. But then also on the point of then the threat that's facing the world.
Jump into that for sure.
Yeah. So I watch TED Talks a lot, and I look at a lot of futurists.
Who's
people
Ted
like-
and what is he talking about?
Yeah, that's my dog, and he gives words of wisdom. If you,
It's his dog.
Yeah, it is.
Yo.
you can hear him barking. Actually, he's outside. I like to read books and expand my knowledge, as I know all of us here do, to really start to pull in a lot of information and understand the context of what's happening, so you can look and understand why Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos have an insane amount of influence in the world right now, because they understand trends, they understand where things are headed. Jeff Bezos knows that in the next 5 years, it's going to be self-driving cars, and all the Amazon employees are going to be, not all of them, but a vast majority of everyone in the warehouse, at least, is going to be replaced by a robot. And if you have kids, or you or you intend to have kids and bring them into this world, the world is going to look very, very different in even 3 years, much less 15 years. And that is a big threat. I know there's other threats, which I would like to hear your guys' take on that. But automation is already blindsiding people. And the day that self-driving cars become more effective than human drivers, which is debatably already here, what happens to every single UPS driver, every single Amazon package deliverer, every Uber driver?
Every
They're out of
truck
work.
driver.
Was it?
Every truck driver.
Every truck driver. Yeah.
Yeah.
What does that future look like? I mean, I don't know if you know much about how psychologically people are impacted by losing their work, especially men. But what happens when you have, I think it's 70,000 truck drivers in Texas alone that are at risk of losing their job? What happens when even 10% of them get depressed from that or get angry and lash out? That's the world that we're inheriting. So with that context set, I mean, what else do you guys see as some of the big threats that we need to, actually take an honest look at?
I think a big threat that kind of a play on words here is the social justice warriors. That's a big threat.
The Social Justice League.
Yeah.
That's a different league. It's a different league.
A different league.
That's a different league.
The
Different sport.
anti-justice league.
Yeah, exactly.
But no, they parade around like the Justice League, right? But their name is for social justice, but what they end up actually doing is creating more social strife because people end up seeing themselves as separated, right? They see themselves as other or different or unique, and they separate from the total human experience and they just go into this individual experience, right? I see that as being a potential threat just because the more that it gets media time, the more that it gets more mainstream, the more that the children that are coming into this world, they're not able to perceive it in the way that you or I may be able to perceive it because we can see through it, like Asif was saying earlier, like we can see through that shit, right? But they're seeing it as that's normal. This is acceptable. This is how the world operates. And then they take that going forward. And then, by the next generation, there's not even a question of, are we separate or not? It's like, no, we're totally all separate and, unequal and yet equal at the same time. Just totally not understanding, how we have to all be the same, but we're not ever going to be the same. Instead of just realizing like, hey, we don't all have to be the same, but we can still be equal in value, right? Just like, your heart is not the same as your brain, is not the same as your fingers, but it's all equal in value. You wouldn't want to give up, your heart or your brain. Or
Pick one. You have to give up your lungs or your heart.
Yeah. Which one? Choose now. It's going to become the other one. Whatever you give up becomes if you give up your heart, it becomes your lungs. So you get 4 lungs now. Yeah. That's what you want, right?
Trade-off, yeah.
Equal playing right. And so for those of you who have no fucking idea what we're suggesting, message us. Because it's not something that you can explain on one live video. We're here to look for the people who have been looking, for the people who are like, yeah, I know that there's something going on in this world and I don't know what to do about it. Those are the people who should reach out. For the people who are like, I'm willing to become very successful, or who are just unclear about what they're supposed to be doing with their life, with their path, with their influence. If you already have influence, it's like, maybe you see that what you're doing is like, I want more. That's who we're looking for. Because another part of that threat that Mitchell was mentioning, we have an entire generation of children who are being raised in this climate, where every individual is afraid of one another. In the own family home. Some people's mothers wouldn't even hug them for 6 months. My point being that now the human being is more separated than ever. You have children who are being impulsed. What does impulse mean? It means it's being put into them through a constant pulse of stay away from that person. Don't touch that. Make sure you have your mask on. You don't want to poison other people because you're infectious. You could have a disease, you don't even know it. We're getting children to have a perpetual fear that just exists inside of them that could kill them. And they can kill everybody around them. Everybody they care about can die because of them. We're programming children that, hey, you might be a murderer, but you don't even know it yet. So just don't do anything. What do you think that's going to look like in 15 years from now? Now, here's the thing. Going back to what Drake was saying, we're trying to make it so that the Social Justice League, the Social Justice League, right? They're trying to make it so they're shutting down everyone's communication so that people cannot say certain things. Isn't that anti-social justice? That's
Hey,
being
Only
anti-social.
certain people should be allowed to talk, Asif, okay?
Right. Drake?
add to that what you were saying about kids being raised in this climate. Add to that many kids are not going to school in the same way. Whatever you think of education, right? What they're getting now is even worse than what they were getting before.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's nationwide. It's global, actually. It's global. The education that they're getting now is substantially worse than what they were getting before. And it's evident. It's evident. What do you think that's going to look like in 15 years from now? Like, so, okay. What were we saying? The kids, they can't read. They can't put 2 and 2 together.
Literally.
Literally.
Okay.
They think they're going to kill everyone that they talk to, or that they could die at any moment just from like something within them. Breathing. Yes. Something normal, right? And then they believe that they are separate from literally everyone, and automation's coming. What are all these people going to do? What purpose are they going to even have within them? You know what I mean? Like they're just going to be milling about. And if you were, say, in the position of the government or a government, and you had to govern all of these people who have no work, no purpose, they're not very intelligent. Not because they're dumb, like because of like, you know, just naturally not smart, but because they weren't provided with a proper education. They're antisocial. That's it. They're antisocial because they don't want to be around anybody, because they don't identify with anyone else, and because they're afraid that that other person might kill them, or they might kill that other person. How would you even manage that? You know?
That's such a good point, Drake.
It's the social justice people who are enforcing social distancing. It's all backwards. Go ahead, Kansas.
Yeah, because like we all work with families, right? We've all worked with families with young children, and by doing that, we could see the effects of what kids are being impulsed with in school, media, advertising, and how it actually plays out in brain development. So I remember just like a few months ago, I was working with a kid who was 10 years old and he didn't know his alphabet. People think adults can read nowadays, but it's actually not the case. Not at all, right? We've seen that because we work in education. So, like Asa was saying, for those of you who have no idea what we're actually talking about, send us each a message individually and privately. But these are something, well, education specifically is something that we take very seriously because we become a product of our education at the end of the day. And Mitchell was talking about this one concept of people actually want to do something, right? So if you do the research on when people actually retire, their lifespan after retirement. I was reading this book actually. I read it like 4 years ago, The Happiness Equation. And don't be fooled by the title because it's actually not just based on emotions. It's actually a really practical book on how to plan yourself, schedule your day, a lot of things like that. Because brain chemistry has to do a lot with your standard routines. And he was talking about this one idea of this teacher that he had for many years. And then he stayed in touch with this teacher and he retired at, I think, right at the age of 65, and he literally passed away. This is one example, obviously, but he passed away like a week later. He had nothing to do with his life and his time, right? And if you look at children, they want to do things, they want to help. I've never seen a kid where you're washing the dishes or like folding clothes or like sweeping, not want to go do it. I have never seen that ever in my life, ever. Not offer to do a chore that a teenager or an adult would actually resist. You guys all seen that before, right?
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
if they haven't had any experience with it, they're like, oh, I want to, can I help you with that? Like, that looks like fun. Like, you know,
Yeah.
Right.
But
If they
then-
are, if they haven't already been forced and pressured
That's
into
it.
doing a bunch of stuff they didn't want to do already. Exactly.
Exactly, right? It's like a new experience to them. It's like a new thing, right? So they want to try it. But at the end of the day, if you look at people with their careers, some of us get so molded that we can only focus just on one thing. So ultimately speaking, if you look at what's creating the problems that we have in the world today, it's like what type of thinking is it going to take to solve those problems that we're actually creating and pursuing right now? Like Bruce Lee said, like be like water, right? But I was thinking about this last week. So I I saw a point of responsibility that a lot of people give up, right? As in, if I don't have to pursue the solution, but if I just am a bystander and I'm not promoting the problem, I'm okay. You guys ever see that? Like I'm okay. It's not my business. That's like there's problem people, there's solution people. They'll fight it out. They'll work it out. You know what I mean?
yeah.
You're like water. You're a wave, and you're going in one direction, and the bigger wave is gonna collapse the other wave. We're all like 70 to 90% water. So is the earth. So when we're walking around manipulating matter, manipulating reality, what I mean by manipulating is just moving things around, influencing things. Our water is going one way or the other, wherever your bias is. So if we're just falling into the bias of fear, that's actually promoting the problem. Whatever problems that you're actually aware of today, any of us are aware of.
Every single individual is a walking advertisement. You are directing attention towards you. That's what, if you look up the word advertisement, it comes from directing attention towards something. What do you stand for? The biggest trap that I fell for, oh man. Okay, we'll talk about all this stuff. And this is like the final catch-all to make sure that nobody ever makes a difference, right? Because everybody's focused on like we got to wake up enough people. The biggest trap that I fell in was because I realized the problem in my mind, because I was like, holy shit, and like, oh my God, the elite are actually control. This was all actually, everything's planned and everything's created in a way to produce the result that we're seeing. Right? These are people who've made billions and billions and billions of dollars directing the course of the world. The word government is to steer. They know where they're turning left and right and left and right. They know their destination that they're going to. And I realized all these things over time through having these conversations and being like, no, there's no fucking way. You guys are crazy. You guys are conspiracy theorists. You guys are paranoid, all these things. But every one of you, all the other people we connect with, they're stable. They showed me. They weren't just talk. They showed me. They put the pieces together for me because I didn't have the ability to do it yet myself, right? So as I was developing that ability and the pieces were coming together, I realized, holy shit, this world is on fire. this world, if we don't intervene as individuals, even though I don't know how yet, it is on fire. It is burning down. We're watching it burn down. We're watching communication fall apart. We're watching human beings individually fall apart, die. We are watching relationships torn apart. We are watching parents killing their children because they can't handle being at home with them. And I thought the biggest trap that I fell for, I realized the problem. I was like, oh my God, now I see it. I realize what's going on. I'm watching many different people talk about problems just like we were. And I said, I agree with everything you guys are saying. I hear you. Man, you guys are speaking my language. And I stopped there. I thought, because it's not just me thinking about it, now I don't have to worry about it anymore, because there's another Justice League that's going to take care of everything. There's Kevin Trudeau. There's this guy. There's Biden. There's Trump. There's whoever's going to save the fucking day. But thank God I got a good group of friends with me to help me realize, dude, no one's going to do it but us. No one is going to do it but us. We are all walking advertisements and we are aware of it. That's why everywhere we walk, every word we speak, every word that we speak
Every shirt that we wear.
is by design to support the individual in front of us to see more clearly, to behave with more clarity, to think more clearly, to speak more clearly, to listen with more clarity. But the result of you understanding, the result of you getting it, the result of you being clear, it's that you're on our team. We're connecting every week, laying out the plan to change this fucking world before it's too late. And if you're not doing that, don't fool yourself. Because if you're just a insert profession here, go ahead. What do you do? What do you do for money? Go ahead.
Salesman.
Perfect. What else?
Firefighter.
What else?
Doctor.
Janitor.
Janitor.
Uber driver.
Uber driver. Pharmacist. Right? A statistician. Insert your profession here. If you're still just doing that without a clear picture of how you're going to grow beyond that and join our team, then don't lie to yourself that you're a good person, because all you care about is taking care of your own hide, just like everybody else. Now, the point is, it's not judgment, okay? Because that's where all of us started. And we still are aware that we have to take care of ourselves. We're not saying sacrifice. But I was clear, I became clear that acting wasn't actually helping. I had a big delusion that that's the way I was going to change the world. Like, I was going to get on stage Leonardo DiCaprio style and just tell everybody hey, go do this, go vote for this, whatever. I realized the biggest limitation to that is, no one's going to actually do anything. No one's going to actually go and understand what they're voting for, whatever the case may be. They're not going to do it. So the point is, I realized, oh, dude, I'm totally lying to myself. And the reflection of that is, okay, now I work with a group of people who are fundamentally changing people's lives or supporting the individual to change their own life so that they become a self-leader, so that they can fix their own problems. So then that is the only way that we can have real equality. But don't fall into the same trap that I do, that thinking just because this resonates with you and because you like what we're laying down, you're picking up what we're putting down, therefore you're doing the right thing. No. you doing the right thing should be reflected in you being part of our team.
And with this, like when I talked about the two main things that we're then focused on creating within this community, it's educational perfection, meaning a real freaking education that you couldn't get from public school. It's not designed to give you that. What we're talking about is fundamentally supporting yourself to first understand who you are, to understand why you react to certain people in certain ways, why you ignore your body or that voice in your head, or your ability to be honest with yourself, or why sometimes you don't even trust yourself. Or when you say, hey, I'm going to go do that thing, and there's that little voice that says, well, maybe I'm not going to, right? Like you lack integrity. But we all still lack integrity from the sense of we haven't yet made the world best for all. And so that's what real integrity is. Integrity is being undivided, being completely whole. So you can have that within yourself, but that's reflected, like Asif's saying, like we're all saying, that's reflected in the outside world. So this process of perfecting ourselves through first re-educating ourselves, that is the path that must be walked, because you got an education when you were a kid. But when you really understand how the brain works and how learning happens or doesn't happen, and you're really self-honest, you'll realize you got programmed with a bunch of BS, and we're still walking around running that program. So that's what needs to really be looked at with self-honesty, but then to realize when you're part of our group, we have tools that we can show you how to pull yourself apart, look at what's here, and then put yourself back together. But this time, you put yourself back together with the intention and the starting point and the actual understanding and proof that who you are is going to act in accordance with the best outcome. Not just like, I'm good for me and I can feed my family. Like, obviously, you have to be good and you do have to feed your family. We're not saying don't do that, don't sacrifice. But realize the context in which we live, like we said, with the social justice warriors, the automation, all the changes in the economy. There's going to be another COVID. There's going to be another virus. That's all definitely going to happen. And who are you in that world? Because even if you're good and your family's good, are you going to live completely off the grid and have guns and then just stay at home fending for yourself in your miserable life? Or are you willing to take responsibility for the community that's around you and for your little piece of reality? The reality that we're all connected to, because there is an objective reality that you have a little piece of. Are you going to take more responsibility of it or less responsibility of it? The choice is yours, but that's also an illusion because the real choice you have is to conduct yourself in the best way possible and to support others to do the same. Because then it'd be like, imagine Earth as a body, and imagine that the heart and the brain and your liver didn't really care about each other. They didn't really talk. They're kind of neighbors, but maybe they like bickered sometimes, right? Like, how long is that body going to even reach a tiny bit of its full potential? No. But that's us as humanity. And as cliche as it sounds, it's literally what we're about, is getting all of ourselves to be at our best potential, support that in each other, and then that literally ripples out throughout the networks that we're all part of. So that's when we talk about education, that's what we mean. Not memorizing some facts about some historical figures or learning times tables in math class, even though you might need to know those things to perfect yourself. But we're talking about truly bringing out the best that's within you, supporting that in other people so that we can fundamentally level up together. So that's some food for thought.
If you're in a position right now where you feel like, hey, my plate's already full. I already have kids that I have to manage. I already have a job that I have to manage. I already have one or multiple businesses that I have to manage. I already have so much turmoil going on inside of me that I don't think I can handle more. I already have so much on my mind that I can't think about more. We have the solution. that changes your fundamental ability to handle multiple things at once. We have the solution to support you. It's not me doing it. I'm not special. I just use the solution. Mitchell just uses the solution. Kian just uses the solution. Drake just uses the solution. And all the rest of the group, they just use the tools. That changes our ability to manage everything in our, like Mitchell said, our slice of reality. So my point is, I want to take care of that excuse that stands in your way of having a better life. I want to take that excuse away, which is really just you getting in your own way. But maybe you didn't know that there was a solution to that. Maybe you're like, I didn't think I could change my ability to handle things. I'm here to let you know that you can. I know that for a fact. These guys know it for a fact, yeah?
Spells.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why, if that's something that you're looking for, or you're just curious about, then that's why you guys should reach out.
Yeah, 100%. And I see this coming up a lot for people too. You might think that you might have to have your dream life before you could help anyone. You know, it may not be about helping someone today for you watching this, because really there's three types of people in the world that are in different stages, really. So there's people who are looking to right now just really support themselves. You know, you might be going through mental issues. You might be depressed because of being in lockdown because of COVID. Who knows what you could be going through? It could be physical conditions as well, right? And then there's people in this world who are really looking to really support themselves, and in addition to that, support their family and their community, right? And then there's a third type of person, and ultimately, it doesn't matter where you're at specifically, but what we're looking to do is connect with everyone, all types of these people, all types of these specific groups. And the third type of person is kind of the person who's at the level where they're looking to make a difference for the world, where they're at the stage where they have enough, they have things taken care of, they're supporting their family, they're having a decent life for themselves, and they're able to operate within their community without restrictions in terms of financial restrictions and things like that. So it doesn't matter where you're at in this process. I want to say that you don't have to be in an amazing position to start changing where you're at today. That should be clear, because we didn't start in an amazing position. We didn't start with great families. We were just all average and sometimes crappy people.
Sometimes
So
still.
sometimes still. So don't judge yourself where you're at today, but look at what you want to create, and feel free to feel comfortable to message any of us, because we have been there, and I really mean that. So that's what I wanted to mention to wrap that up.
Kian, that was like, you know, I was extra average before, learning about these solutions that we're talking about, and hanging out with all you guys, and actually learning. And I remember the changes that I got for myself were just so huge, just within myself, just from what I could see for myself. I was like, wow, this is amazing. I went from feeling absolutely terrible all day, every day, and not even really being aware of it, thinking that that was
Yeah.
just like normal,
Yeah, that's a massive point.
to like, oh, this is what I could actually feel like. This is amazing. Like, why wasn't I feeling like this the whole rest of my life? And when I realized that, I realized like, wow, I know there are other people like me who were living the way that I was living, and who are not aware that life could be better. And if they got a taste of what I experience now, man, their life would be forever changed. Like if they could see that shift, if they could have that same shift that I just got, wow, that would really be doing something for someone, because it did something for me. And so, I couldn't see changing the whole world. But I could see, you know what? I know there's at least one other person out there that I can share with and help them, and they could get the same experience that I had, or that, like, it could be just as impactful for them, right? And that's all I wanted to do. And now it's so cool looking back, seeing just how many people I have helped. Like, from my intervention, because of the support that I've gotten from all you guys and everyone else that we work with, right? And that we support each other. It's like, wow, I just want to keep going.
Yeah.
Don't get fooled into thinking that just because the four of us and maybe a couple of other people are very public, we share a lot, don't think that we're the only ones. There are hundreds who are going through what Drake just described, of living their life in this kind of constant kind of pain or sadness that you don't even know, you're not even aware of, that you can come out of it until you're out of it. There are hundreds like us, and they are all expressing themselves in their individual networks, but you don't see it because maybe you're just part of my friend group or Ken's friend group or Mitchell's friend group or Drake's friend group. If you go into the group Self-Perfected, you will see hundreds. If you Facebook search self-perfected, hashtag self-perfected, you will see hundreds of videos. If you Facebook search hashtag self-perfected, you will see hundreds of people who are walking the same process.
And this is, for me, I don't see any other way to live. It took me a little while to get to this because I wanted to chase my own feelings and I wanted to feel good all the time and be positive and happy. And, you know, it was like I was going to get rich and then change the world, right? Get rich, then save the world, because then I'll have a bunch of money. But that's backwards. And that may not register with you for another year, but I will keep saying it for the next 30 years. You get clear on your starting point first. And that's a process that takes years. I'm still refining that. But and by starting point, I mean your general intention and who you are within any given situation. And as that becomes purified and that becomes clear, the most amazing doors and opportunities open up. And I have had more fun. I've had more enjoyment. I've had the best conversations. I've had the most fulfillment imaginable as I've taken on more responsibility. And yeah, it's uncomfortable. And yeah, sometimes I'd heard concepts and it didn't quite resonate or click or whatever. But by dedicating myself to this and dedicating myself to actually creating a world that's best for all and doing that every day, building this group, supporting the group, being supported by the group, seeing the group grow on its own, like it is the most important group in the world. And it's the best group in the world. And you will see in the months and years to come, as the world keeps collapsing, you will see the people that are walking the process of self-perfection continue to rise up and up and up, and our lives will keep getting better. But it's not because we want our lives to be great. It's because we want human dignity to be restored so that any child on earth is guaranteed a life where the basic needs are met, where they have a home with two parents that can be there for them and support them. That's our real intention. And in order to do that, it involves changing the system. And in order to do that, it involves becoming very effective at communicating and making money, at connecting with people, at networking, at understanding how things work. And as we all do this together, that's fundamentally how we change things. And that is what I would call the real life Justice League. So tune into self-perfected.com. You can find the group. Listen to the podcast. I put it in the comments on here. When this is on YouTube, it'll be in there. And investigate it. Really look at it. It will trigger you. We do that for a reason. And share this. Because what message could be more important for the world to hear right now? So with that, thank you for watching. Until next time.